Bonjour and welcome to episode 6 of Joy in Paris. Started out the morning with breakfast as usual. Then we headed over to the Place de la République where we met our guide for today, Vincent. This morning, our walking tour featured Parisian street art as well as a discussion on the posters around the city and how they should and shouldn't be placed. I didn't realize that there were so many rules about placing posters, but it was really interesting to study a little. We definitely saw a lot of really cool street art, and Vincent knew so much about each artist and their style. The elections in France are coming up, and so we saw these poster boards with posters from each party. Then we visited a public market that was called the Marché des Enfants Rouges because the children in this neighborhood used to all wear red coats. Then we stopped by the National Archives. They were actually shooting some kind of Indian film inside, but we did get to walk through the building and check out the garden. These markings on the street actually show where the ancient wall of Philippe Auguste existed. We saw more street art and a street artist hard at work. A fun fact about this shopping mall is that the metal used to construct the ceiling actually weighs the same as the metal in the Eiffel Tower. Then we headed to a restaurant called Champeau for lunch, and this is actually one of the restaurants of Alain Ducasse. We started off with some Parmesan puffs, not counted in the pastry count. I got a French onion soup with crispy cheese on top, and it was so good. My friend also got the burrata, which was so satisfying to watch. The cheese pull of my onion soup was absolutely insane. It was so much fun. For my main course, I got a crispy pork belly. It was so rich and tender. I really liked it. And for dessert, a rhubarb and almond tart, and I also got an affogato with praline on the bottom, and it was so good. After lunch, we briefly stepped inside an old church right outside the restaurant, and it was so beautiful inside. All the stained glass was so detailed, and the ceiling's Gothic arches were so high up and very grandiose. If you know me, you know I love an old Gothic church, and this one definitely did not disappoint. It was so beautiful inside. Then we were off on another walking tour, except this time we were learning about the different facades of Paris and what they meant about the people who chose to live in certain buildings. We also visited an indoor market in a covered passageway between two buildings. We got invited into a soap shop where the owner was so excited to meet people from MIT. We saw some more cool street art on the buildings right before it started to rain. Here's a particularly interesting facade with a mixture of Gothic and Egyptian influences. And then it was time to head back to the Opéra Garnier in the pouring rain to watch our ballet for tonight. The palace was even more beautiful, lit up at night. The first half of the program was a reimagined Carmen, and it was so good. The style was so unique, and there were definitely moments that really resonated. And so, at intermission, we had to get a few glasses of champagne, because did you even go to the ballet if you didn't have champagne? The second half of the program was two pieces. One was called Another Place, and the other was Ravel's Bolero. Both were so great, but what really made it special was that it was one of the principal dancers' last performances at the opera, and it was definitely so bittersweet and so emotional. After leaving, we decided that we couldn't just go back to the hotel and sleep, so we found a cafe near the opera, ordered some wine and cheese and dessert, and just talked about the ballet and what we felt for a while. I got an eclair with hazelnut and almonds, but after that it was definitely time to go sleep. It was late, so that's all. Bonne nuit et à demain.